Hi guys, my name is Hina and welcome to another monthly reading wrap-up video. In the month of March, I read a total of 10 books. So let's see what they are.
The first book that I read in the month of March is I'm Thinking of Ending Things by Ian Reid.
Oh my god, this book completely blew my mind. It was one of the most insane books I've ever read. The ending, oh my god, the ending of this book completely flips the entire book on its head. I was so lost in the ending that I had to listen to a particular bit twice just to make sure that I wasn't imagining things. And the narration of this book is excellent. I mean, the elements that were used in this book were so good that I got the phone calls from an unknown man, the family of the boyfriend himself. So there is a constant feeling of building dread in the entire story, and you constantly feel like there's something wrong, but you're not able to put your finger on it, and you start questioning whether it's just you or it's the writing style or it's the story itself. But in the end, you come to know that it was all deliberate. So do read this book. The next book that I read is Dark Across the Bay by Anya Albon. This is my first book by the author, and I must say it was quite promising. I love the atmosphere, I love the tension, I love the settings most of all, and I really like the build-up of the dread and the mystery itself. It was quite good, although it wasn't very unpredictable. My main problem with this book was the characterization. So the story is about a dysfunctional family that is hiding some kind of a secret from each other, and then one thing leads to another, and the family is stranded on a holiday island all alone, and a lot of disturbing things follow. So, as I said, the build-up was good, the tension was quite good, but the characterization could have been much better. This book deals a lot with trauma and its after effects and how it changes people's lives. So, if you are overly sensitive to trauma and its effects, then be warned. So my rating for this book is 3 stars. And if you are okay with the characterization not being spot on, then this book can actually be a very good read for you. The next book that I read is What You're Looking For Is in the Library by Michiko Oyama. This book is obviously a Japanese bestseller, and everyone in India seems to be loving Japanese fiction a lot lately. So I picked up this book as a birthday present from my cousin, and it did not disappoint. It's quite a fun book. It's very reflective and it teaches a lot about life in general, but it is quite light. Basically, it's a lighter version of Before the Coffee Gets Cold, with the lighter stories and basically not extreme threads that connect the characters, but still the characters were connected in some or the other way. So it was overall a very nice read. It was a feel-good read, and being a dark fantasy fiction reader, I enjoyed the change of pace, personally for me. So I would rate this book 4 out of 5 stars because the writing was pretty good and the lessons that were reflected upon in this book, the life lessons, were quite good actually. The next book that I read is An Elderly Lady is Up to No Good by Helen Thurston. An Elderly Lady is Up to No Good, a cozy mystery read. So if you're a cozy mystery fan, then you will love this book. I enjoyed this book, but because it wasn't a continuous story, it was about the character and the stories were about the same character, I found it to be mildly amusing. I do enjoy cozy mysteries, but I like works by Anna Catherine Green, AKG. So this one, in comparison, did not do that good. But still, if you're a cozy mystery reader and if you like short stories, then this one might be up your alley. The next book that I read is a Russian classic literature by Fyodor Dostoevsky, Crime and Punishment. I've tried to stay away from this book for a very long time, but I thought it was time, so I listened to it this month and it was a ride. It is a psychological thriller drama and it is quite intense, very cerebral, and the existential dread in this book and the philosophical concepts discussed in this book were insane. I'm thinking of doing a separate video on this book because I have a lot that I need to talk about. Right now, I'm just going to say that I liked this book a lot and I'm going to be reading it 4 out of 5 stars, and I'm going to be doing a separate review video for this book, so do watch out for it. The next book that I read is The Trap by Catherine Ryan Howard. This book is amazing. This book is based on the real crimes in Ireland about missing women, and the fictionalization of those crimes makes this book insanely dark. So the story is amazing. It's about a sister, and I'm not going to say anything else because it is quite literally going to spoil the book, but I'll tell you what. If you find this book lagging in its pace, then just hang on because the ending's gonna make up completely for it. And there's a reason why the author did what she did. So hang on tight. My rating for this book is 4 out of 5 stars. I did think that the pacing could have been a bit better and there could have been a bit more foreshadowing to keep the readers hooked. But I'm just glad that I finished this book and I stuck till the end because it was quite rewarding. The next book that I read was The Housewife's Secret by Anna Lou Bidley. As the name suggests, this is a domestic thriller, but do not underestimate this book because the flashbacks that this book has are completely insane. It completely blew my mind. The present that goes on in the book and the detective who is the main character of the entire series was actually not quite up to the mark for me, but if you like mild thrillers, then you might actually appreciate this book. I really like the darker aspects of the book, but I did feel that the character as well as the overall story in the present could have been much better because the author had a really solid ground to build a great mystery upon. So my rating for this book is 3 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read is The Ritual by Adam Neville. Adam Neville is known as Stephen King of UK, and I could not agree more because he is brilliant. I loved this book. Is 5 out of 5 stars for me. This book was like the Blair Witch Project meets Norse mythology with psychological twist. This book is intensely claustrophobic and atmosphere. This book is a combination of folk horror and survival horror. So you can imagine the kind of intense tension that was present in this book. It was exceptionally atmospheric. I immensely enjoyed the settings, the characters, the Norse mythology, the Scandinavian forest, and this book was simply brilliant, and it was better than the movie 1000%. So I give The Ritual 5 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read is Witchcraft for Wayward Girls by Grady Hendrix. This book is again an amazing read. It has amazing characterization, which was obviously expected from Grady Hendrix. Plot was amazing, the concept superb. The settings were brilliant this time, and the protagonist was amazing. The only complaint that I have with this book, I kind of feel that the ending ruined the book's momentum for me. It was kind of like what happened when I read The Final Girl Support Crew. I loved that book, but the ending was kind of very unclimactic for me. And the same happened here because the ending could have been so much better, but apart from the ending, the entire book was totally worth reading. So if I could write fan fiction, then I definitely would for this with an alternate ending, but I don't, so I won't. The rating for this book for me is 4 out of 5 stars, and I'm cutting 1 star only for the ending. Actually, if I would ignore the ending, this book could have been one of the best Grady Hendrix books that I'd ever read, but because of the ending, now it is not. The next book that I read is A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. This book was obviously a complete 5 out of 5 stars. It is about 4 friends, JB, Malcolm, Willem, and Jude. And although at the start the story feels like it is about 4 friends who are living their lives in New York, it is actually the story of Jude, who has gone through a lot of trauma in his life. So this book is exceptionally heavy. It talks about mental illness, trauma, abuse, self-harm. So if you are a sensitive reader, then you might want to stay away from this book because this book talks a lot about pain and trauma. I love this book. This book crushed me, and so obviously I'm giving it 5 out of 5-star rating. I will be doing another video only for the review of this book because this book deserves an entire video. So there are a lot of things that were covered in this book and they need to be unpacked. But for now, I would just say that this book is simply amazing. If you're not afraid of exploring trauma and pain, then do give this book a read. And if you find it overwhelming, then give it a couple of days break, read something else that is lighter, something like what you're looking for is in the library, which I did, and get back into a little life. That way it makes reading this book a bit easier. So that's all. I read 10 books this month, and I'm already reading a couple of excellent books for the next month, so do check out my next video. This is all for this month's book wrap up. Thanks a lot for watching. I will see you again in my next video.